is Nicolas from Excelinator. Since it's Christmas, we are going to design a Christmas tree entirely in Excel. Yes, it's possible and fun. Let's get started. Okay, so here is our Christmas tree we want to arrive to. Okay, so we want to begin on a blank sheet and do the same. We shall do it step by step. First of all, we want some little squares. So we shall select all by putting our mouse into a little white icon. We select all, right click, colon white, and we put 4. Same, row, I want 20. Now we have something more acceptable for our Christmas tree. Second, I want my color. I want the color of Excelinator, which is that one. But you see, in the main color, I don't find it. So here it appears because I already did use it. What do I do if I want to find it? You can put your mouse on any cell. You check more colors and you find custom. If you want to copy one of the color, you can just copy the hex. We take the hex, Ctrl C. We can also adjust, if you want to slightly more bright, fully white, fully black, we can adjust here. Here I go back, I have my X, I select all, more colors, and I can just put it again here. And Excel will find automatically, okay, the color I want. Now I want to draw my drawing zone of my Christmas tree. So my drawing zone is from I2 to PA39. You can draw that's according to your screen. I have quite big screen, I want some space here. That more or less should be a full screen for everyone. Okay, so now that we have our drawing zone, we see that here I have my first header line, which I want is a different row height, 5175, I copy it, and I can change the row height here. So what do I want in that template? I want, for example, a logo of my company, of your company, or any logo. You want, for example, some text, some button with some links. For example, you want social media. So if I click here, it redirects me straight away on Instagram or Facebook or etc. 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 You got it. Yeah. If I click on the logo, same, you can you're redirected straight away on the home page of the website. Okay, so how do we do that? We want to insert pictures over cells. So we have all the things. I want logo. I have my logo. Let's take that one. Okay, so here there is already no background, so that's really good. You see it's already really cropped, so we can crop it a bit more if we want. Okay. Okay, now its crop is perfect. And we can just drag it onto our first row. Okay, so now we have our logo. How do we want to give link? We shall see that after. We want also some sentence, so we can insert text box. We draw our text box and we can drag it. So for now it's white, we don't want that. So we go in shape format, shape fill, we don't want any fill. but we still see that we still have the little line. We don't want that neither. We don't want any outline. We remove it too. So now our little box, we cannot see it. We can write what we want. So Excelinator wishes you. Okay. So now we have that. We can drag it. I want a bit. We can, of course, we can change the font. So we select all. I want it white in bold. And I want, we can add more. I want 24. Okay. So now we are nice. Okay. Okay, so now we want to create our buttons on the header. So how do we do that? We go insert. We don't insert picture this time. We want to insert a shape. The one that's mostly used is the rectangle with the rounded corners. Really practical because you can play after. You see it's a bit round. We can play with a yellow dot, more round or full rectangle. Okay, let's keep it like that. Again, it's not the color I want. Let's choose first the size, yeah. It doesn't need to be perfect here, it's just to show you how we do. The shape fill. So that's our color, the same one. We want some tiny bit of contrast. How did I do that one? Again, more colors. You can just take any color you want, and then with a custom, you can just put it a bit more, a bit less, and then you play like that. Okay. So same problem. We still have the outline. I don't want that. No outline. So now we have our button. It's a bit flat. We want to make it a bit more fancy because like that is not nice. So we can play with the shape effects here. We have some presets that are really nice, or you can customize, of course, yourself with a shadow, reflection, everything you can imagine. So in the preset, I like that one. That's the one I did take before. That one is really nice. What I want to do is, I need to copy it, but I will first finalize this one, and then I can just copy all the settings. So here we want to type something, for example, see on YouTube. Okay, we can do init and change the font. The only problem with that is that is less flexible. So what I like to do, I insert a new text box. We type see on YouTube. And this one, we will be able to choose where we want to put it exactly on the button, you see? So it's more flexible. We can move the text more than left, right, middle. So first I want to choose white. Of course we don't see it, it's normal. We didn't change the font. We change the size. Okay. We change bold. It's too small. Okay. Now I want, of course, to remove the fill. We have no fill. Now we can see, we can read. And the outline also, no outline. Okay. So now it's a bit nicer. We can adjust, of course. See on YouTube, for example, like that. We want to make it perfectly, so you will see for after when we group, it doesn't take too much space. Like that is something nice. Last one that I had some icon. So again, two ways. I can insert an icon if I find some. That's okay, maybe I was too quick. So insert. We have the pictures, we have the shapes, we have the icons. If we type YouTube, problem is he doesn't find anything. Doesn't matter. We go in our gallery, pictures, overcells, this device. I have some icons. I have my YouTube here. Okay, perfect. Alors, this one, two problems. I want only the icon and I don't want the background because if I put it here, background is not nice. So what shall I do? I crop. I want to crop it. I remove the text. I want only to keep the icon. It can be really close, so the smaller it is, the better. We crop it. Okay. So first, now we have our icon. We can remove the background with any tool that you know or any AI, that's possible, but we can also do it with Excel. Here, no need to go somewhere else. It's a bit, how to say, less automatic than AI, but it still works. So we have here, or we choose mark areas to keep, or we choose mark areas to remove. So I want to mark the areas to remove. So I want to remove that one. Yes, already. That's already good, actually. I want just to mark that one to keep, sorry. Okay, perfect. So now we see we keep all the black one, but there is just some little problem here. Okay. Now he's correcting too. That's why I say it's a bit less automatic, but it still does the job. Okay, now it's nice. I keep. Now, if I try to drag it, it doesn't have any background. So I can reduce. Yes. More. Okay. When you're happy, that's perfect. Now the problem is my icon is black. I don't want black. So again, two ways. We can go in colors, but it's a picture that we import. So it shall not be perfect. We can choose, but yeah, it's nothing I want. Easiest way, when we want white, we can just go in format picture. We have all the format we want. We also have here picture correction, white, it's a full brightness. So if I put 100, my picture will become white because the brightness is at 100%. You can change any color like that. Not only black, but any color can become white. When we are happy with our first button, okay, looks nice. What we shall do, we don't want to do that 2 times or 3 times, 4 times. We can group all of that to copy. Here, if I try to copy, you see, I have only that. I don't want that. So I click first on the icon, it's easier, and that's also why I did make it really small on the text and on the icon. I see that I select all of my 3 items. I go in shape format, I can group. Now, if I just click, if I focus on something, I will still be able to click on that one. I don't want that, I just want to go on the edge. Sometimes it's tricky, yeah, like that. And now we can see that I can move it. You can move when you see the little 4 arrows. Huh? So here we see we have one button, easy. We can copy it. This time we did keep our settings. So now let's, for example, we put it here, okay. And we can drag the other one here. Okay, so now we have our 2 buttons. What do we want to do? The other one, I want it to show more of the templates from Excelinator. So, more templates. Okay. I wanted another icon. So here, it's still group. It's always better when you're working on one of the buttons like that. You can ungroup, so you're sure to not make a mess. So now that we have our 2 buttons, I want to change my logo. How I shall do? I can insert. This time I can just take an icon. And I want, for example, an icon of a book. I want that one. I can insert, and I have my book. So same, we remember, format graphic, we go, correction, full brightness, it is now white. We didn't group, so that's good, we can remove that one, and drag this one here. Okay. Oops. Any mistake, if you click on the wrong one, Control Z. I want to click on my icon, some arc. When we are happy, we can group again. Yep. And if it's too complicated to target with your mouse, you zoom. We zoom. Okay. We can click on the icon. Sorry, I forgot. When you want to click on many different shapes, control. So control, left click on here, control, you maintain control, and then you go and target the last one. Now we have our three. Control, left click. Shape format. We could regroup now, so just group, that's it. Okay, we can dezoom. Perfect. Okay, now we want to do our social media. So same. For this one, I could just Control C, Control V, we drag it. Here we can straight away group. We can remove that one because we don't need text. We want to keep the same height, but we don't want the same logo. Okay, so we want to target it. Okay, we remove it. We can insert a new one, picture, place over cells, this device, and we go back in our icons. We can take, for example, Instagram. We have our Instagram, same problem. We want to crop that. It's way too big. Okay, we crop. Like that is nice. And like that. Okay. Again, you can also use any tool or any AI tool to remove the background or find the Instagram without background. Now we adjust that, like that. And same, we shall zoom, otherwise we shall never be able to group them. Control left, Control left. Shape format, group, group. Okay, we can now unzoom. And this one is ready, we can drag it somewhere here. I did take the two other one from my template, no point of showing you all of the three. We see that I didn't have exactly the same height. You can see, so on my template there, my buttons were slightly higher. How to fix that easily? Here we can go in shape format. You can see the height 148. If we go on that one, we can see 161. So if we choose 148, we now have the same height as the button in here. And 167, so 167 too. Okay, and same for that one. 148, 167. Okay, so now our buttons are the same. Now let's say we see they are not exactly aligned. We can have fun and try to do that manually. I don't want, so we shall place one, for example. Okay, I want on top is that one here. We control, tag, we select all our icon, and what we shall ask to Excel is align, and we can choose. For example, here, align top. So he will take the one the most on top and align all the selected items on that same height. Here it's better. Let's say also there is a space here is not the same. So we can ask Excel align, and we want to distribute horizontally. So now he check on the left, he check on the right, and he will, here there are 3, so of course there is only 1 in the middle, and he will put the same amount of space, which is way better. Now we are happy with our header. We can still add the links. So how do I do that? First, here there is already a link, so I can just find my link. We take our link from our website, which is here. Right click, and we see we can link. Okay. Or in an existing file or web page, yes. Current folder, so we can link to any of the sheets. We can also link to browse page, and we add our link here. Okay. So now, as soon as we put our mouse, we see the hover will show us the link. I also recommend to do that on the last, because then it can become a bit more boring to move. For example, if I want to left click, he will not want, he will open my link. So how do I select that? I right click, one left click here to lose the target, and now I can drag it, which is a bit more boring. If you did associate your link too quick, no problem, we just remove the link. We can do the same here, we can put the link. You understand the principle, you find your link for TikTok, for Facebook, Instagram, your more templates, etc, etc. Of course, you see on YouTube is not yet. I am preparing the video for you. Next step, we want to do our user panel. Now, like that. I want 3 buttons, one to draw my tree, so I can just target and draw, one that I can make spark my tree, and one to stop it. And then we shall have our color panel for the ornament and for the star and the pulse rate. So we take, again, we imagine that we didn't do that yet, so we can just take one of the button. We remove, first we ungroup. We remove the icon, we don't need that. And we still have the text ungroup, we don't forget. So when we move them, or we group them again, but it's too early. So I want just control, click, and now we can move them together, same as if they are grouped. So now they are here. Okay, so here I want to focus only the shape, and my text will be draw tree. My button is nice. Okay, maybe that will be more in the I want to reduce so it doesn't go out of my shape. Yes, you can of course adjust more to your desire. So now we have that one. We can, this time we can group, and we want 2 more buttons. Up, 1, 2. Our panel is ready. Now what we need to do is we can choose our colors. Why does it matter? We shall see it after when we use VBA. We shall be able to choose one random color of our panel. So for example, you see here we had just different color, just to make it something like that, just to have different type. We could, for example, choose, I want a blue theme. So let's just choose some colors that are blue. Now, last thing, we can also choose, we shall see after, the pulse rate, so that it doesn't, we have, if we choose every second, we see it's quite slow. It will refresh every second. If I choose 0.1, it will refresh way more often. Of course, it depends of your computer, of your capacities, of your processor. You don't want to make it overheat. This one can just, for example, we choose 0.5 in the beginning, but we shall see after how it does impact our code. Now here is our fun part coming. Now we have our header ready, we have our user panel, we have our buttons. What we would like is to be able to draw a tree easily just by clicking on something. First, we will need to use some VBA. So, to open VBA, Alt F11. In our VBA, we see what's interesting, we can insert some module that you can write if you know some coding, or you can generate with any tool or any AI. But you still need to understand what's behind your module. Of course, we did generate with ChatGPT, but I knew exactly what I wanted. We need to understand what's behind the module and why we did generate it like that. What did I want in the beginning? I wanted to be able to target a cell and to draw my tree from the cell. Okay. I wanted that my tree draws itself, but doesn't go outside of the drawing zone. That's why I did draw my drawing zone. Now that I know that, what did I want to? I want a green tree, of course, like that. We can imagine we could drag it, etc., etc. Let's not do that. For example, that's the beginning of my tree. What does C excel in that? Excel see a cell with font color green. Okay. Now I want that my tree has some ornaments on it. What is an ornament? Can I add it straight away like that? No. And I want that ornaments, they can have different colors and different size to be a bit more fancy. So what do I need to put in each cell? I need to put numbers. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc., 6, 7. We have different numbers. What we will be able to do with VBA is, according to one number, we want to change the size. For example, if it's number 1, it shall stay 11. If it's number 3, we want that is 14, etc., etc., etc. We can change the size so that the ornament will also change. Because we don't want that every tree is the same, we would like to randomize the things. We don't want to hash type every number. We want to generate a random number between, for example, 1 to 10. So we have a function for that, rand between. Okay, we can choose 1, 10. So rand between 1, 10. This one will generate number at every calculation. So if we refresh F9, we see that these two change. We have a random number between 1 to 10. Based on that, now you see me coming, we can, based on the number, we can adjust the size, that's nice, and we can also adjust the color. We don't want to see numbers, we want to see the little ornaments, the little orbs. So how do we do that? We need to change the format cell, because here we will have all numbers. We will have a tree full of numbers. We don't want that. So format cells, numbers, here we see we want something custom. I already create a new one. We take that one. So what does it say? It says if it's 11, so if it's a number 11, it will give me a star. Otherwise, it will give me a big dot. Okay, that's perfect. We will see the star after y. Okay, so now we see our numbers. They are still numbers, but they appear on Excel as a big dot. Now, if we increase the size, we see, doesn't matter. We have different type of orbs. We did talk about the draw area. We want to only stay in that one. I don't want that my tree comes on my user panel. That's why I did give a range. I want also to clear the content. So if I put my mouse here, I want to erase the previous tree. I don't want to overlap. That's why we have the clear content and the unmerge that we shall see after why. We choose the tree height, for example, 30 rows. We have the loop. Okay, that's not interesting. What's still interesting is when I was talking about the size and the color. So we understand here why I did give a random number between 1 to 10. So we will have automatically in every cell of the tree a random number generated between 1 to 10. And then here we can select if it's 1 or 2, we can give a font size of 10. If it's 3 or 4, a font size of 12, etc., 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 we choose. We just want to make sure that it doesn't change the size of the column and of the height. For example, here we see 20 that didn't move. 22, no worry. 24, 26, but now we see 28, the column did move. So we don't want to go more than 26. We also want to generate a random color from our palette, from the user panel. So here we did take that colors. Okay, so now that we have our VBA ready, we can link it to our button. How do we do that? We select our shape, right click, and we can assign a macro. We have different macro. What do we want? We want draw tree. Okay, okay, okay. Now we remember we begin to draw our tree from our focus. If I click now, you see my mouse is moving, it's becoming a real mouse. It means that there is a link. I click, and now we have our tree that is designed. We have our color that are respected. We have different size of orbs, but there is a problem, something we did forget. We have the lines on Excel. No worry, it's because in the beginning, you remember, we did select and we did put the color white. But what is our VBA doing? We remove, we clear, because we want to be able to draw and then to erase in the drawing zone the previous tree. You see, I erase everything and I draw it again. So all the format, all the filling is always erased. So what can I do? I can go in page layout here, and I can grid lines remove. So now the white doesn't come from a filling, but comes because there is no grid line. Okay. So now we have our tree, and for example, if we see that you are too small, he will just draw a tree like that, the begin. That's why we have in the VBA, if you can see here, on error resume next. So we don't want that because he cannot draw, he will send us an error message that we need to solve. Of course, in a classic project, we want to solve error because it's really important. For this one, we just want that he draws the tree like that. We want to refresh our different numbers. You will tell me, but wait, you say that if9 is refreshing, so it should give me the same. Let's try. If you refresh, we have it refresh indeed, it will recalculate, but my orbs doesn't change. You see, it's always the same for the star. Why? Is because in our first VBA, the refresh comes from the VBA itself. So we need to do the same in the blink. Okay, so what we want to do, we want to choose a refresh timer that will auto-refresh only what we wanna refresh. We want the value being between 0.1 and 1 second. Because more than 1 second is not really blinking, and less than 0.1 second, Excel could become crazy, and you would also have some eye attack, not heart attack, but eye attack. If, let's say that the user put something else, then we just go back on 0.5. That's just some safe in the VBA, so at least nothing can go wrong. And it's also the occasion while continuing with our VBA, we can also talk about, here we can enter any value. If we want to double protect, we could use data validation, and we can say that for that cell, we are weighting decimal between, I want 0.1 minimum and maximum 1. Okay, so now if I try to say that I want a pulse of 2, he will say no. Okay, same, you understood. If I want a pulse of 0.01, he will also say no. Anyway, it's not necessary because we already had a protection in the VBA, but it's data validation. Okay, so now we can continue. What is our blinking doing? So we're just refreshing every 0.5 or 0.1 second. Okay, so what does it do? It refresh only the star and the orbs. It will recalculate the number and the colors. And by the numbers, it will also recalculate the size. We don't want to every time redraw all the tree. Otherwise, it would be laggy, a bit slow. Now, again, we want to select our button and assign a macro. So we want our start, and for our stop, we want our stop. Okay, now we have our tree. If I start, it will auto generate the numbers, and so with the format cell, the little orbs, and linked to the size and the colors. That's nice. We can stop it. We can choose a different pulse. Now, if you like a bit quicker. Okay, you understand the principle. Okay, so now for countdown, we need to use some formula that we shall take here. So we see, here I did hide it, you don't see it. When we click on our text zone, we can see that we are pointing to BF39. Let's go in BF39. We have our formula. What does our formula is? It's huge, but it's not that scary. We do a countdown from the date, from now, until Christmas. So we take Christmas minus the date from today, and then it will give us in days, hours, and minutes. Okay, really nice. We take our formula, we can point it again in BF39. Here is black, doesn't matter. I can, if I want to make it invisible, okay, so now we cannot see it anymore. Now, if I take my text box, I can copy again. Let's say that I want it here. This time I want a classic font. I don't need something fancy for that. Okay, not that big, please. Yes. And now, instead of having the saying, we don't want that. We will go into that little square where we can type formula. And what do we want to show? Equal BF39. So we will show what does say BF39. Let's put 24. Okay. And now we have our countdown. And at the time of my video, we have 1 day and 6 hours exactly until Christmas. Okay, so that's it. Our fully animated Christmas tree built entirely with Excel and some VBA, yes, and the help of AI, but still. And even our live countdown to Christmas. So I really hope you did enjoy as much as me. Don't hesitate to like or subscribe, of course, for more Excel projects like this. See you next time and happy holidays!